Owning a Lamborghini for one full year has been nothing like I had expected. It wasn't just one big long high, definitely different phases. Things like excitement, uncertainty, adjustment, confidence, and eventually a completely different relationship with the car. These are the 5 phases that I went through during my first year of Lamborghini ownership, and what you may too whenever you get yours one day. Phase 1, the dream becomes a real thing. The first phase is when the car is completely new to you. You're learning all the different buttons, you're controlling the different driving modes, and even learning how to properly get in and out of the car, and even doing things like taking bumps at a corner or using the front lift system. Every sound makes you wonder if something is wrong. This happens to me quite a bit. There are so many times where the car just makes a weird little sound, but I kind of have to tell myself that this is a supercar. It's not like any other car. It's going to have its own little things that it likes to do here and there. Every warning light catches your attention. Granted, not a lot of warning lights go on with this car, but I will say that even whenever you get a light when the car is letting you know that you simply have to fill up air, it does cause a nice little jump in the system or in the brain where it's like, oh, what just happened? You're still not sure what the car is going to require you throughout the course of the ownership and what's yet to come down the road. You're thinking about maintenance, insurance, battery health, where you can safely park it, and what roads you should avoid and which ones you should take. Even driving it feels strange at first. The visibility is completely different. The car is wider than you're used to, and you're constantly thinking about the front end, about potholes, about animals crossing the road, about different curbs and how close you may be whenever you're parking. And a major one is construction or roads that may be under construction. It's exciting, but you're also slightly nervous because you're learning how to live with a brand new supercar. So this was a huge one in phase 1. As soon as you get the car, you bring it home, you're completely excited and you're driving the car super slow. You're still trying to get used to the buttons. You do have a lot of things coming at you all at once. That first month of owning the car is full of anxiety. You're super nervous whenever you're driving the car. You're not really comfortable yet with people coming up to you at such a rapid pace, and usually it's not just one person. As soon as 1 or 2 people come up to you, it literally just becomes a party at the gas station. Anytime you pull up with the car, you get out of it, just expect a conversation just kind of waiting to happen. And again, nothing wrong with that, but if you're not somebody who's comfortable with that in the beginning, this may be something that really catches you off guard. But in this phase, it took me about a good 2 months, maybe 3 months to kind of get used to all this stuff. And then another thing that really kind of got me was this is obviously my first expensive car or most expensive car that I've ever had, where the payments are pretty close to above $2,000 a month, and that's even putting down a significant amount. It's something that you're just not used to. It's not something I would say is stressful, but it is something that is different, and then you kind of have to get acquainted with the new flow of how your finances are going in and out. Obviously, if you are somebody who's stretching to get this car, you're gonna feel this a whole lot more. I personally never recommend doing that. You should get the car whenever you can comfortably afford it, but even then, it is gonna be a huge payment that you're just simply gonna have to get used to. Maintenance and repairs and all that, I thought it was gonna be a whole lot worse, knock on wood. But what kind of helped me with this one was just beefing up your emergency fund a whole lot more and just kind of preparing for things to go wrong. Even though they didn't, but just having that cushion just really helps you out a whole lot in terms of just having a really big peace of mind. But in phase 2, your life does start to reorganize around a bit. After the initial excitement, reality begins to set in. You may be able to afford the car, but the payment is still going to be a major monthly expense. Insurance, maintenance, registration, storing your vehicle is a big one. A lot of people don't really realize. A lot of people think you can just store the car in your garage, and you obviously can, but keep in mind that your neighbors may also see that you have a Lamborghini, and then that treatment could be positive or it could be worse depending on the type of people that you're dealing with. Your house does also kind of become a target at this point, so that's just a little bit of thing that you kind of have to watch out for depending on where you live. I personally have a storage place that's way down my road. My neighbors actually do not know that I even have the car, and I personally like to keep it that way just so I can kind of have a low profile and just kind of blend in with the rest of the crowd. But yes, you do also begin planning your life around the car. You check things like the weather before taking it out. You choose better roads. You avoid construction zones. You take the long way around those construction roads and potholes and roads that may just not be a good fit for the car. And places with difficult parking, you definitely avoid. I personally, whenever I drive my car, I simply take it out the garage, go for a drive, and bring it back in. I tend to fully avoid parking lots. I don't like to leave the car alone because in the 2-3 times that I did, there was always a crowd around the car, and at times it may be completely fine depending on where you're parked. But in public areas, just expect that cars are going to be circling your supercar. They're going to be driving by it. They're going to go around taking pictures. People will definitely get out their car, come up close to it, take pictures with it. So those are things that you kind of just have to get used to if that is what you plan on doing with your car in terms of parking it in public parking lots. But not only that, you also tend to go to the gas stations that are a bit more on the low-key side. I personally like to fill up at Mobil or Shell, but I personally avoid certain gas stations that just draw too much crowd. Some gas stations may be on a bit of a steep incline, which may make it difficult for the car to get up to. I personally have found it the best whenever I'm on the highway and then I can see a rest stop. Those are typically the best gas stations because they're more fast-paced and they don't draw big crowds depending on what time you're traveling. But at first, it can feel like a lot of work. Eventually, it just becomes an automatic procedure. In phase 3, people begin treating you differently. This actually happens off the bat, maybe even into phase 1, but in phase 3, you kind of start to get used to it. This is probably the most unexpected phase. When you get a Lamborghini, people's perception of you can change almost immediately. I personally see it all the time because I do also daily drive a Honda Civic. So this is something that happens. Some people become more supportive. Some people become more curious. Others become distant, competitive, or begin making assumptions about you. This all just comes with the package. Even people who were once very close to you may start acting differently, for better or for worse. You also begin questioning where you fit socially. You may feel like you surpassed parts of your old circle, but you haven't fully established yourself within a new one yet. Now keep in mind, you shouldn't really let a car kind of dictate your circle or whatever it is, but to other people it can kind of come off that way. So even if you just kind of stay neutral the way you are, the dynamics or social dynamics around you will change. For a while, you can feel caught between two different worlds. Eventually, you learn that you don't necessarily need to have abandoned your original circle. You can bring the right people closer, your real friends, your family, and your people who genuinely want you to succeed. One of the things that I did do, or caught myself doing, was the people that I already knew, the people who have always been there since day one, you do tend to bring them in closer. You start to appreciate genuine people a whole lot more than you already did. And then you can quickly kind of pick up on the fake noise that is also out there too. And then if you don't, you're going to be in a big trouble because this is something you kind of have to learn how to filter out. You want to learn and bring close to the people that will help you out, that will help take care of you whenever you just are in your Civic days, and keep those people even closer whenever you get to your Lambo days. You also learn not to take every reaction personally. A Lamborghini can bring out a lot of emotion in other people, including yourself. Admiration, insecurity, motivation, jealousy, and curiosity occurs in all different people. The car doesn't always change people, but sometimes it simply reveals what was already there. But social dynamics after owning a Lamborghini is a huge thing. It's something that is going to happen when you get your supercar. But I will say that one of the biggest things, one of the biggest crossroads you kind of get to is you could either turn into somebody who becomes a bit more show-offy, or you could either become somebody who just goes very, very quiet, or you could be somebody who's also out there networking and also just simply just trying to inspire people. No Lamborghini owner is the same. A lot of people that I came across are, for the most part, really great people, but there is a small chunk out there that you do kind of have to watch out for. People, whenever they do kind of get to a point, they become more amplified than they already are. So people who are just kind of out there treating bad to other people, wants to get their Lamborghini or become rich, they become probably worse off in terms of treating people harshly, or completely the opposite is what also could happen as well. A Lamborghini just kind of amplifies who you already are. Phase 4, the car becomes a extension of you. Around months 6 or 7, there was a major turning point. The Lamborghini stopped feeling like it was unfamiliar, a intimidating machine, and it started feeling like my car. You learn exactly where the corners are, the steering feel, the braking feel, the transmission, and how the car reacts in different situations. You stop overthinking every moment. The attention also becomes a normal thing. People taking pictures, coming up to you and asking questions, or staring at the traffic lights no longer catches you completely off guard. You become more comfortable speaking to people and representing what exactly the car means. And at that point, the car literally just becomes a extension of your body. It just becomes another arm, or your mind just feels really connected to it in terms of all different ways. You still respect it, but you're no longer intimidated by the bull. That is when driving becomes a whole lot more enjoyable with the car. In phase 5, the ownership finally becomes a lot bigger than just the car itself. This is where you kind of start to realize what exactly the car is meant for. The final phase is when you begin connecting with other supercar owners, whenever you're building more relationships with other people who also share the same passion and understanding everything that the car can unlock. One of the biggest recommendations I can give anyone who wants to buy a supercar is to actually attend events. That is going to be one of your biggest tickets into the supercar realm of things, or into the biggest benefits of owning the car and the most enjoyable, inspiring things of all time. Go to the meets, join the rallies. I guarantee you will have a blast. This is probably one of my biggest, most enjoyable things in my entire life. You get to talk to other owners, you get to build relationships. Once you build that network and begin driving alongside other supercars, then the ownership experience completely changes. The car, your life just begins to feel a lot more alive. It's no longer just something sitting in your garage. It becomes your entrance into new friendships, rallies, charity events, road trips, and experiences you may have never had otherwise. You also begin realizing the influence the car can have. You can inspire people, you can change lives, you can inspire kids, you can motivate adults, you can completely change someone's day just by being friendly, just by waving at them, letting them see the car, answering questions, or allowing them to take a picture. But that comes with a certain responsibility. You realize how you may act may influence how somebody views Lamborghini owners, successful people, or even their own future goals. Then there is a business side. For me, the Lamborghini helped create LamboView, which is the channel that you're watching right now. It became monetized about a month ago and started generating YouTube revenue. That was a huge turning point because the car was no longer simply providing me just entertainment or personal enjoyment. It was beginning to function as a business asset that I could use to help change lives out there. It created content, opportunities, relationships, and income I've never expected when I originally was going to buy the car. And when you start to see that you purchased the right Lamborghini, the car is maintaining or potentially increasing in value. Mine is actually going up in value, which is amazing since it's one of the last V10s. It adds another level of satisfaction on top of whatever you're already getting. You begin feeling like you didn't just make an emotional purchase. You may have also made a reasonably smart one. So that's a huge thing. So a lot of people just compare cars to Lamborghini. So you would think that a Lamborghini Huracan and a BMW M4, Corvette, whatever, all three of those cars are, similar in performance. All these cars, all four cars that I just mentioned, you would think a normal car person would just kind of see these as all cars. But to the general public, the Lamborghini does stand out significantly more. Not just in terms of performance, but in terms of the outlook of the owner. And when you kind of understand that, then you start to see that the car is not just a car. It's more of a symbol of who you are. So after 1 year, the Lamborghini doesn't feel like it did on the first day. At first, it was this massive achievement that I was super nervous to drive, nervous to maintain, and unsure how it would affect my life. But 1 year later, it feels like a part of my identity, a part of my network, and a part of my business. The best part of owning a Lamborghini isn't simply just driving the car fast. It's learning how to handle the responsibility, meeting new people, inspiring others, inspiring kids, and turning the car into something much bigger than the machine itself. Thank you all for watching.